What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MTG here with another episode. If you're new to the channel, hi there. So this is the Samsung Galaxy A54, and I'm going to just spoil it off right from the beginning. This is a great device for $449. I've been using it for nearly 2 months. I've got a lot to say, and I think you're going to like it. So without further delay, let's dive right in. So starting things off with screen and design of the Galaxy A54. So Galaxy A54, it gets a pretty significant upgrade in the looks department when you compare it to its predecessor, Galaxy A53, and it has a all-new design that's really reminiscent of the Galaxy S23 lineup. So A54 has a glass back, no big camera bumps sticking out. Instead, just like on the Galaxy S23 series, the only 3 cameras in the back of the A54, they stick out separately, and it just feels more minimal and clean when you look at the overall design. Then we go over to the front of the display, and it's a Samsung panel. It's really good. A full HD 120 Hz AMOLED display. It's not Quad HD, but who cares? Like, I don't really need Quad HD. The higher the resolution, the more battery is going to drain out the phone, and we don't want that. And spoiler alert, it has great battery life, but I'm going to go into detail on the battery in a little bit. Display, vibrant, 6.4-inch large display, but it doesn't feel that large in the hand, to be honest. Like, it feels pretty snug in the hand. 800 nits of brightness, max 1000 nits with vision booster. So it's really good to use outdoors, and we don't want to compare it to something like iPhone 14 Pro Max with max 2000. We're seeing like Xiaomi and Oppo with like 2500. No, we're not comparing it to that. In day-to-day use, it's really good. Like, I can use it in sunlight without any issue whatsoever. Overall, like, I love this display, I love this design, and I like how Samsung has chosen to give a design that's very similar to Galaxy S23 series. The one thing that just stands out a little bit when you kind of pay really close attention is the bezels. So it has a little bit more extra bezel when compared to the original design of S23, but I think that's okay. I kind of just wish it was more symmetrical. I feel like the bottom bezel right here is thicker than the top, but overall, that's okay. Like Pixel 7a, its direct competitor in this price range, like 450, 500, that has a really thick bezel as well. So you can't really complain, but overall, I like this. I like how the camera is in the center. Some phones have it in the top left or top right corner. Come on, just put it in the center and get it over with. And it overall, like, it reminds me of Galaxy S23. I don't have a Galaxy S23 in the studio, but I feel like I am using one because it doesn't really cut too much corners. Now, it does have a glass back, but unfortunately no wireless charging. So we're gonna get the battery life and charging and all that stuff in a little bit. But if design is like a huge thing for you, you can't go wrong with Galaxy A54. Now that's gonna bring me into software and performance, just general day-to-day experience with this device. Now, A54 Exynos processor, Exynos 1380, doesn't have Snapdragon. I kind of wish it had Snapdragon 7 Gen 1, but it doesn't. 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. This is the US model. The international model, you can get one with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. So do keep that in mind. If you're here in the US, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, but it does have micro SD card expansion. So that is a plus. We're not really seeing that with flagships, but we're not even seeing it with too many mid-range devices either. So that's a huge plus. Now, with my day-to-day, the reason why I said I kind of wish I had Snapdragon 7 Gen processor is because there was a slight lag when I first started using the device, and it was definitely better than A53. Like, I just couldn't use it. Maybe it was just my experience, but it was really laggy and slow. This one is definitely better, and it has been better over time. There's significantly less lag throughout day-to-day use when initially I first opened it out of the box and set it up and was using it like the first couple days. One UI, absolutely one of my favorite custom OEM skins, It comes equipped with Android 13 and 4 years of Android software updates. So from day-to-day use, like watching lots of YouTube videos is something I do. I'm using this display a lot, and if you want to check out my latest wallpaper pack, it's called Jello, my absolute favorite one so far. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below. It really does help out the channel a lot. This wallpaper pack has 10 different types of wallpaper colors and styles you can choose from, so definitely be sure to check it out. But everyday use, it's been pretty good. Now, how often are you gonna get the Android update day one? I don't know, because it's probably gonna go, if you pick it up through a carrier, that's gonna take longer. But Samsung has been really good with software updates. So 4 years of Android software updates on this. So you're gonna get Android 14, 15, 16, and Android 17 on the Galaxy A54. Now, going through heavy intensive tasks or playing like intensive games like Call of Duty Mobile is my go-to mobile game. You're gonna know some hiccups here and there, but it doesn't bring you to a point where you just can't not play it. You can still play it, but you're just going to notice some stutters here and there. Like a heavy user like me is going to notice, and that might kind of irritate you, but if you're a light user and you just need this for sending the occasional texts, calling, watching a couple of YouTube videos here and there, maybe sending an email or browsing the web, it's a great device. It's a great mid-range device. And that's gonna bring me to the cameras, because mid-range device, we don't really need like the flagship cameras. Many people who are going to pick this up are just going to hit that power button twice, open up the camera and take a photo. There is a slight shutter lag, but that is okay. The overall photos, and I'll be putting them up on screen, the quality is really good. We're getting a 50 megapixel f1.8 primary lens, a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide, as well as a 5 megapixel f2.4 macro lens. I never use the macro, I just point and shoot, and the photos are good. In daylight, when you give it enough sunlight, or enough light in general, it's pretty good. So A54, it switched its main sensor to 50 megapixel that took over the 64 megapixel that Samsung had on the Galaxy A53. Now, one might think, oh, 50 megapixels is less than 64, so that means it's gonna be worse quality. But guys, numbers don't tell the full story. I think Google is a prime example of this. For years, they've done really well with computational photography, their overall camera quality, and they've stuck with 12 megapixels for such a long time, and they're recently getting into larger megapixel count. So it doesn't really tell the full story. Now, Samsung's this 50 megapixel shooter has been fantastic. I gotta say, with the right light and even with slightly less light, it performs pretty good, and you can rely on it. Now, don't expect flagship quality, but just, if you're going to take a photo of a recent graduation or something else to keep as a memory, it's a good phone. That's going to lead me into the battery life, one of the most important aspects of the A54, but just in general, every single phone. How long is this phone going to last? Well, 5,000 milliamp hour battery is a plus. 25 watt wire charging, it's not a plus, it's just neutral, because I wish there was faster charging, but there's not. There isn't wireless charging, which may be a bummer for some, because there are competitors that offer wireless charging at this price range. But overall, I gotta say, great battery life. It's almost on par with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, which is the battery champ in my use. I'm a heavy user. It performs really well. This is the exact same. It performs really well, just right under the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Lasts over a day. If you're a light user, this will easily last you into the second day. Standby time on this has been much better than my S23 Ultra. Easily getting 7 hours of screen on time. So if you pick this up in the morning and you barely use it, I can guarantee this will last you into the second day, and that's what we need with battery. We need good battery life in our devices, so we don't need to worry about charging. Like, you don't want to get into like a rush, like, oh my god, my phone is about to lose charge, it's going to die out on me, and we don't want that. We don't want to worry about battery life, and with this device, you're not going to. And that ends it off with the price. With this entire package priced at $450, same as the Galaxy A53, its predecessor, we're getting some pretty good, we're getting upgrades in pretty much every single part with the software experience, with the minimal design, with the updated camera, better, cleaner display, just better looking phone overall, better battery life. Samsung's doing the right thing. They're making refinements in the necessary areas, and I think this is a great price for this device. Pixel 7a is its direct competitor at $499, and iPhone SE 2 or iPhone SE 2022 is priced at $430 here in the US. I think that needs an update in design, so if you want to directly compare, I would say this one is the better phone to buy. But Pixel 7a and this, I did make a video about the two, and I'll be leaving a link in the description down below on which one I personally would prefer. Now, we came up to this point, my final thoughts, and also something I would just want to mention right here. As you can see on screen right now, I have a bunch of different merchandise. Links are in the description down below if you do want to take a look, from hoodies to t-shirts to pillows to mugs to desk mats. You can definitely check them out. It really does help out the channel. Now, overall thoughts about this device. Good job, Samsung. Seriously, good job. This is a mid-ranger that a first-time mid-ranger from Samsung that I can recommend to a lot of people. I think we're at a point where flagship devices, they offer more than just what we need. And mid-range devices are getting to that point where they're starting to offer more than just what we need. I think anyone can rock this. It all comes down to preference, whether you want to rock it or not. But if you were given this device and said, hey, you gotta use the A54, you can do it without any issues. Like, the fingerprint sensor is pretty good. Like, it doesn't need to be blazing fast, but it gets the job done. Software is great. It's not the fastest, but it gets the job done. You're not getting the highest end camera, but it takes good photos. It gets the job done. Battery life, it lasts you all day. It gets the job done. This design doesn't like scream ugly. This design doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. It gets the job done. Of course, they're going to have to cut corners in some parts to bring down costs, but overall, you can't go wrong with Galaxy A54. So that's really been it for this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel a lot and will help push my content out to more people. That's been it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.